Core studies. Core studies. Core studies. Well, as the core studies theme tune fades away there, can I just welcome you back to a fascinating cognitive look at eyewitness testimony done by Loftus and Palmer in 1974. Thanks yet again to Natalie Miniker, who's responsible for the vast majority of slides on this PowerPoint. So, Loftus and Palmer did a lab experiment, which is one of the favoured methods used by cognitive psychologists because they're trying to work out what's going on inside the human mind, and they believe that they can do that through controlled studies. They were trying to work out how accurate eyewitness testimony and how accurate what eyewitness testimony is, and how badly affected it can be by leading questions. So they were showing participants a range of films in a laboratory setting, and the films had examples of car crashes, and then they were asking them questions to see how accurately the participants remembered those films. Hopefully you will have seen the previous video that's on this post about change blindness, and you might remember the man standing in the street asking for directions, who was then replaced by another man with that clever little trick with the three guys holding the door. And that might hopefully have caused you to ask the question, how accurate is memory? Well, it has to be quite accurate, of course, because if you ever find yourself in court and you've got your hand up, you've got your hand on the Bible and you're raising your hand and you're saying this kind of business, you're going to tell the truth and the whole truth, then you would want to be pretty confident about your memory. But as you would have seen in that previous film, memory isn't always accurate. And we want to try and figure out, and what Loftus and Palmer were interested in, was what were the factors that can make memory more accurate, and what kind of factors make memory inaccurate. It is an important issue, of course, because the Innocence Project is a group of people in America who work to clear the names of people who've been wrongly convicted, and they claim that the vast majority of wrongful convictions that were later overturned by DNA evidence were caused by people giving mistaken eyewitness testimony. One thing that can cause problems in court, and you may have heard it if you watch TV dramas in court scenes, is that barristers often complain about other barristers for doing leading questions by asking questions that seem to be putting words into the mouth of the witness. Elizabeth Loftus is the world famous researcher on eyewitness testimonies, and her definition of a leading question is a question that either by its form, the way it's phrased, or its content, the actual words it uses, suggests to the witness what answer you want, or leads him in that direction, leads him or her in that direction. And so our question, and the question that Loftus and Palmer will be asking, is how strong an influence do leading questions have on our memories? But why would questions affect memory anyway? Well, it's to do with a phenomenon called retroactive interference. You may have experienced this yourself, where incoming information is integrated and confused with existing knowledge. So you might know something, or you might have seen something, and then you find out something else about the situation at a later date. And as a result of that, your original memory of what you saw might be influenced by the later information. Our mind doesn't work like a camera where you would just have two different pictures of something. Then you would have, what we're constantly doing is recreating our memories by thinking back over what's happened. there are some important examples of research showing that eyewitness accounts of memory are actually quite inaccurate. Now, one area where a fair amount of work's been done is on estimating speed. So Marshall in '69 got a load of Air Force personnel and asked them to watch a car drive by. The car was driving at 12 miles an hour, and they were asked to estimate what speed they thought it was going. And the estimates range from 10 to 50 miles an hour. I wonder why that might have happened. Some people suggest that it could be something to do with the way they were asked the question, that maybe some words or phrases suggest a speed to people. They act as a leading question. So depending on the kind of word that you used about the car driving by, maybe that may have affected your speed. There are other possibilities that you would need to put into number 2 on the second page there, if you're writing up your handout as you go. Another possible explanation for those ranges of speed could simply be that people are very bad at estimating speed. Fillmore, again, thinking about speed, he suggested that actually some words, like a word like smashed and hit, they imply a different rate of speed. So if you say oh, these two cars smashed into one another, you're suggesting that they're actually going very fast. Whereas hit, on the other hand, two cars hit each other, that would seem to suggest a gentler kind of experience. So maybe if we use words like smashed and hit, maybe that would have an effect on people's memories. So that's where Loftus and Palmer's experiments come in. That's precisely what they're trying to do. They wanted to. We really will treat it as two separate experiments. They wanted to investigate generally, though, how accurate or inaccurate memory is. So that was part of their overall aim. Is memory accurate or inaccurate? And they also wanted to see if leading questions would have an effect on how people estimate speed that they've seen. In the first experiment, they simply used different words in a question. Some people were asked a question about how fast were cars going when they smashed. Others were asked how far were the cars going when they hit. And a couple of other words were used as well. And they wanted to see if those words would make a difference to people's estimates of speed. The second experiment wanted to go a little bit further. And they wanted to see if leading questions did more than just change someone's response. They wanted to see if a leading question actually altered someone's memory of an event. Okay. So, like I say, hopefully you will have completed the first 2 pages of the worksheet. Don't forget to make a note of any questions about what you've seen and read. And please make sure that you're ready to come to the next lesson, ready to discuss this material. Okay, I'll see you in class. Thanks very much.